Welcome to Made for Mondays, the source for digging a little deeper into the Believers Church Sunday messages and finding ways to apply them to our daily lives. Together, let's take a deeper look and find a way to bring Mondays back to life.
Hey everybody, welcome to the pod. My name is Heather, and who are you fellas?
Hey there, Heather. It's me, Jamie.
Hi, Jamie.
Hey, y'all, I'm Tyler.
And
Good
Sam.
evening.
Oh, sorry, keep going.
That's good.
Sorry, Tyler.
No, we're good.
Sam's here. I don't know how loud that was.
Probably pretty
quiet.
loud. Keep your hand off the mic.
Yeah, just don't touch the mic.
Maybe that's why I wear headphones all the time.
Why?
Then I don't touch the mic.
That's not true. We all know that's not true.
Okay, well, maybe this will help, but it doesn't seem to be.
Yeah.
Tyler, nice shirt.
I appreciate that.
I hear you were going to wear that yesterday until Karina put
She
you in
stopped me.
check.
She put me in check. I told her I was going to wear this, and then she just looked at it. She gave me a little smile. Just said, nah.
For those that can't see it, what's it say?
I don't even know what it says, honestly. It says
Sorry I
something
missed
about-
your call. I was on another line.
I just love it. It was going to relate to the sermon and all that stuff.
What?
but
The you and the ocean?
the ocean part, I was going to say something about it.
Right.
That was it. So it wasn't enough
Yeah.
to justify.
I mean, yeah. It's not really like
is
a
that on
great
there?
prop for the message.
It's
Is that a
not.
bass?
It's a bass. of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
Of course.
Nice. Well, sea bass.
Of course, Tyler says.
We'll see bass. Fresh
Yeah.
water.
I told Karina that was a very good call on her part
It was.
to make you change your shirt. Your shirt looked really sharp yesterday.
They all loved it.
Yeah.
Karina's
You're
making a
sporting
lot of good
pretty
calls.
interesting shirt today, too.
Yeah,
Jamie.
I'm
Yeah, it's
wearing
crazy.
in honor of the GOAT series and my birthday, my B group bought me this shirt. I think it says "Living the Dream" at the top, and the goat's riding a motorcycle. Mm-hmm. So it's very cool.
Sam
It
was a
is
little
nice.
concerned
Pretty
about
awesome.
it.
Yeah, I mean,
Sam thought it looked
depending.
satanic,
It could be.
and I
It
said
has potential.
I wouldn't put it past my B group to set me up with something like that.
It is a cool looking shirt.
Yeah,
It is. It
it's
really
very
is.
nice.
All right, well, we're going to get into the message from yesterday in just a little bit. But before we get to that, how was y'all's weekend?
Well, first of all, daylight savings is kicking my butt today.
Brutal.
It
Yeah.
is.
Heather said it yesterday, but I was like, she said, well, it's probably going to be worse on Monday. I was like, no, but
She was right.
yeah, it was. It was way worse today.
Guys, I'm just going to tell you, I'm right
Yeah.
a lot.
That was smart.
very
Wow. Nate hears
I
it
didn't
all
even
the
know
time.
that it happened.
Oh, yeah. You just,
For real?
Yeah. Well, yesterday.
No, for
felt-
real. Like
yesterday
I woke
felt
up,
great.
I was like, I didn't know until I got in my car to come to church, and my car clock was an hour off. I was
Oh,
like,
hilarious.
Oh,
I
must be.
Exact same.
Yeah, I almost texted Tyler on Saturday night because I was like, if someone's going to miss the time,
It would be
potentially
Tyler.
would be Tyler.
100%.
And he's preaching, but I was like,
Yeah.
let's just see what happens.
I did that once at a church in New York when we were raising support. I missed the time change and showed up to church an hour late for the
Yeah.
service I was supposed
Well,
to.
back then it was.
Yeah, I mean, does
it
that
was
even
more
really happen
possible
anymore?
to happen.
I mean, the
Yeah.
phones
Well, yeah, it
just
was more
switched.
possible to
Phones just do
happen,
it, yeah.
but I missed Sunday school hour that I was
no.
supposed to
Oh,
teach.
man.
And I got there just in time to teach for the message.
and they
I-
were like, we're not
I
giving this
thought
guy
I
any
was
money.
coming for Sunday school, and I got there in time for worship service. They
Cool.
cheered when I got there. That was a good sign.
That's
It's like you probably didn't raise a lot of money that day.
no, they didn't take us on. Weird. So weird.
Yeah, anyways, it's been brutal.
You're sleepy
This morning,
tonight?
I woke up at like 5:30 and I was just ready to go,
yeah.
which is not like me at all.
No, let's say. Yeah, Murphy is struggling.
Murphy.
He is.
Your dog.
An hour off a dog. Yeah, he is struggling.
Yeah, well,
it's hilarious.
he struggles to breathe anyway.
He
Yeah.
does. He
Yeah.
has a hard time. He's a French bulldog. For those that don't know.
Yeah.
So he has a hard time.
Was Fritz off schedule?
He seemed fine.
I feel like Fritz is just.
Fritz has
You can't bother
energy
that
to
guy.
spare. Yeah, he'll get up and get going whenever. Yeah,
Right.
he's fine.
All right. Well, the weekend, it didn't
Oh,
throw you
right.
off that much.
No, well, today did.
Yeah.
But what did we do this weekend? We had game night on Friday night. That was fun.
Basketball season's over.
Basketball's over, so got our Saturday back. So
yeah.
that was really good. What did we do Saturday? We were really into the Amazing. Like we've been not rewatching, but watching older episodes of Amazing Race. We just love that show. It's just a good family time. So we did that. Tried to get the house clean. Well, Jamie tried to get the house clean, and we kind of like encouraged her. Go, Mom. You're doing great. She's going to love that. She was not happy this weekend, but we probably need to help out more. I think that's a question that's coming up later
Okay.
on. Gosh, what else? Oh, we went and saw the play at the
Oh,
Western Branch Middle
yes.
School. So they did
I heard it was
Little Mermaid.
fantastic.
Yeah, everybody, I mean, they always do a great job there. The student that played Ursula was, I mean, I just came from Broadway a couple weekends ago.
Yeah.
So I had high expectations,
Right.
which is rare for me. I usually have low expectations in life.
Well, you have low expectations for you.
No, pretty much everybody. No, yeah, you're right. Probably just me. But she was, oh my gosh, she was incredible. So, and everybody did a great job on there, but she definitely stood out. Like but they did a really good job. So we saw that. Our friend Malin was in it, so it was cool. Awesome. Yeah, but that's pretty much all we did.
Yeah, Tyler.
For us, we went to Bay Local. I think this was Saturday. It's a great restaurant.
Yes, really
Some
good
chicken and waffles. It was really good. Then we hung out the rest of the day because I was trying to get ready for Sunday.
Yep.
And then Sunday preached. And then I did in the night watching Housewives. Housewives of
Just
Potomac.
to kick back
8
a little
p.m.
bit.
Just a little bit. And 9 p.m. Married to Medicine. So I was not lying.
It's reality shows.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You guys got to save a few shows for when the baby comes because that's all you're going to be able to do. Just
sit and watch.
get out, get out and get all your stuff done.
That's it. Yeah. Hang out with the baby.
That's
watch
funny.
some Housewives and reruns.
Yeah, so Saturday for me, Bonnie was doing a bunch of grocery shopping stuff, and I cleaned the house.
Nice.
Right.
What I typically do.
Yeah.
So did laundry, cleaned bathrooms, all that kind of stuff. That was my Saturday. Friday went disc golfed. That was fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Where'd you go?
Just in Suffolk?
Just over to Bennett's,
Yeah.
Bennett's Creek Park. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then Saturday evening, we went to Parablanco and did the veggie
Oh, yes. Nachos.
nachos and the grilled
Oh, we
romaine.
haven't been there in a long time.
Very good. Yeah, we hadn't either. It was very
Would
good.
you say it was
Still really
Parablanco.
Blanco? Okay.
It's one of our favorites, and it did not disappoint. It's very good.
Hey, it was really windy on Saturday
Super windy.
It was.
with the disc golf.
But
That had to be
we
interesting.
disc golfed Friday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it was still
Okay.
kind of breezy even on Friday. But
Yeah.
I'm not really good at it,
Okay.
so the wind doesn't.
Doesn't affect you.
I could say that it did, but I don't know that
But
it
let's
would
be
make
honest.
But let's be honest, I'm not throwing that thing very far anyway. So yeah,
That's funny.
it was fun. Yeah,
But Thursday, we had a very unique experience.
Thursday
on
was we went. I don't remember the name of it.
Mesab, I think is how you say it. Mesab Cafe.
Was it Ethiopian? Ethiopian restaurant. Heather picked it out. The four of us went. It was super fun. So they had so their menu. I don't want to. I mean, the food was very good, but they had lots of vegetarian options. And one of the menu options was you could pick any four of the vegetarian things, and they would, that would be your
I
meal.
think there
Slap it
was
on a plate.
9 vegetarian
Yeah.
options, and then the 10th thing was 4 of the 9 vegetarian options.
So we're like, man, this is fun. Like Bonnie and I will pick and choose, and we'll get to taste each other. We'll get a pretty big assortment of options. And then when the waitress comes, she tells us that they only have 4 available. So, those are the 4 that we got.
Both of them.
Yeah.
So they
'Cause
both
that's all-
got the same 4.
Oh, so you're-
Yeah, we both
8.
got the same 4.
Same thing.
Yeah. So, but it was very, very fun, and it was no silverware.
Mm-hmm.
So it came with these like little pancakey type
Yeah.
things that you had to kind of pick up the food with, which is very similar to how it was where Bonnie grew up in Central African
Now,
Republic.
is it spicy? Is like, do
Some
they have
of
a
it's
spice?
very
Okay.
spicy.
It wasn't super,
But nothing-
Ours wasn't
Theirs
super
wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
spicy. It's one of them said it had jalapenos and whatever in it, but it didn't
didn't
taste
really.
all that spicy to me.
Okay.
But yeah, no, but the flavors were really good. It was really nice. It came out on this huge plate with one of those pancakey things
Yeah.
underneath all of it, and then they put it all around on the top.
Pick it up.
That was
All right.
it was very cool experience.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Nate got
and it was warm enough in the restaurant that you felt like you were in Ethiopia.
Oh my
yeah,
That's awesome.
Oh, I'm sure Nathan
Yes.
loved that.
yeah. Nate was sweating a
It
little.
was toasty. Very toasty.
A breathable sweater on, probably.
I don't know.
No,
he
he
was
wore-
wearing a short sleeve
Okay.
shirt.
He came prepared.
Yeah. Nate got a chicken dish and a beef. He got like a combo beef and chicken one. I got a chicken one. And then ours came with a couple of different sides. A lentil thing, a cabbage and carrot something.
Those were two of our
yes,
main
two of
things,
their
yeah.
main things. But the food was
Super
delicious.
good. It really was.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. No, I mean, Tyler, you and Karina would.
Were you
Okay.
full
super
afterwards?
enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.
We'd be
Yes.
so down for that.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
plenty
it's
of food.
the platters are like
Oh, yeah.
literally like this big.
Yeah, it was a lot of food.
Yeah.
It was really good.
It was very good.
Yeah. If you wanted to like sneak in some plasticware, they probably wouldn't, kick you out for that.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the scoop?
But
thing?
if you
You're
want
just
like
scooping
the
up on-
authentic experience,
yeah.
You just
Okay.
go in and
yeah.
Do y'all know what
I
Zeb?
don't think I would hate it.
She's here
Yeah.
at Believers. Yeah, yeah. I think she told us about that restaurant.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she said, and she gave it high marks too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, very
I like the-
authentic. I would
Yeah.
think.
Yes.
The server did English was clearly not her first language.
Oh, and I'm
okay.
sure it's
Nice.
like she's
Like, I think it's
doing
very
the whole
authentic,
thing. Like
yeah.
she's coming out, taking your order, and then she's gone for a long time because she's making your food.
Oh wow. Okay.
I think so.
Like
It's a very
this
small
is
place.
a very
Okay.
small.
Oh, that's gonna be great.
Yeah,
Gotta go try
it's
it.
It was
wonderful.
It was super fun. I would go again for
Was
sure.
this a
yeah.
reservation thing, or you just showed
No.
up? Okay.
This
Yeah.
is in a very small strip mall. There's like 5 tables.
Yeah, 5 or 6 tables. It's
Yeah.
really small.
And
Mm-hmm.
everything afterwards was fine.
Yeah.
Okay. That's my biggest fear.
Yeah, no, it was
was
really good.
great.
I would like to go back when I'm not eating vegetarian. I mean,
Oh,
the
okay.
vegetarian was really
Yeah.
good, but the meat stuff looked good also.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We also went, Nate and I, on Friday, we went to a place in Greenbrier called Relax the Feet for, it's like foot massages,
Oh,
but
gosh.
they do,
Pass.
oh my gosh, it was amazing.
Really?
Yes.
Other people touch your feet.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
goodness.
can't do it.
What?
I can't. I
This
get
is
too
awful.
tickly.
Go ahead.
I
You,
get too tickly.
you can talk about your experience.
No, I know I can.
So far, it's 0 for 2 for me though on your weekend.
Oh, for 2.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Ethiopian restaurant. He's passing
You have to
out
try
also.
it, man. You
No,
have to
I'm
try
not
it.
worried about. I already stated why I'm nervous about it. The Hager stomach. I'm just
Oh,
nervous
okay, okay,
about.
okay. That's
All right.
different. All right.
Well, anyway, it's not
for
just
making
your
me
feet.
say it.
They also like they do head massage, shoulders, arms. It was
massage.
amazing. Yeah, but it's not like a full body massage. It was fantastic. There's always Groupons for it.
Oh,
I would
no
wonder
highly
why.
recommend taking time to do it. It's in Greenbrier. You should for sure do it. Also, on Saturday, we went to a place in Norfolk called Leone's. It's an Italian restaurant.
Mama Leone's.
No, just
Just
Leone's.
Leone's. Yeah, okay.
Find the
But you
vacuum
could
in
call
the
it
room.
Mama Leone's if you wanted
It
to.
has
I'm
a nice
sure.
ring to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leone's.
And we went there with Spencer and Kendra to celebrate Kendra taking her OAT.
Oh,
Yes.
And it was
Similar to the goat. but the
incredible. Yeah.
oat. Yeah.
Spencer got lobster
Ooh.
linguine maybe.
Wow.
And it was, I don't do the lobster things, you guys know that, but it was beautiful. And he said
Just
it was
Ethiopian
amazing.
trays,
Yeah.
but no lobster.
Wasn't
Got it.
seafood.
Okay.
You got to draw the line somewhere.
Just making sure I understand.
And then Kendra got duck breast, and Nate got a seafood pasta thing that had like every seafood possible. In this
Giannis
dish.
has one of those that's outstanding.
Yeah, and then I got, of course, chicken marsala because
That's
it's
what you
my
get.
favorite
It's really
thing
good.
everywhere.
Uh-huh.
And it was incredible,
Nice.
really,
Okay.
really good.
Leone's. Man,
Yeah.
I gotta write these down. This
It's
is-
on the
it's
corner
everywhere.
of Granby and Freemason, I think.
okay.
Yeah, really
I
good.
know
Walk
where
there
that's
from
at.
Sarah's.
Yep.
Right
Very,
around the
very
corner.
good.
Freemason, also a great place.
Yes, Freemason is also
I
a
like
great
that
place.
place.
I haven't been there in years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember
really
we
good
had a
weekends.
staff Christmas party there.
We did.
Wow,
That was a
that was a
million
long time
years
ago.
ago.
Yeah. Wow.
So long ago.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds fun, guys.
Yeah, that's a good.
Great weekend.
Everybody had a great weekend. Jeremy, did you have a good weekend?
I did.
I'm so glad. What'd you do?
I filmed the
Oh, yeah.
play for Western Ranch.
Yeah, he did all the filming
He
for
filmed the
it.
play.
Lucy was in the play.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Sam didn't mention her.
Yeah. No, I did. I said they all did a great job.
No, you said we had a friend, Maitland, that was in it.
Oh, yeah, Lucy was.
Lucy.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Lucy.
Lucy.
Lucy was in it.
Yes.
Good job, Luce.
I just want to clarify. So this place, is specific to massaging feet because you led with
Well,
that.
that's the focus.
Okay.
If
Just
I think
checking.
like they do
Business is booming.
like 30, 50, whatever minute feet massages.
Oh,
It's
man.
like pedicure places.
Okay.
But they don't
I
do
understand
like,
most people like that,
the
but
nail-
for me it seems
they're not like a pedicure place where you get like your nails polished.
okay.
So like it is a foot massaging place.
I mean, they're
However,
just washing feet
And what's-
every day, all
they're
day.
doing Jesus.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. And what's the name of the place again?
relax the feet.
Relax
Oh,
the feet.
Foot's
However, we did the Groupon thing that was like a 90-minute massage thing.
You got your feet massaged for 90
no,
minutes.
you weren't listening to me.
Heather, can you send me that actually?
Yes,
Well,
I
not
will.
because Karina,
Tyler.
her feet, her feet.
Yes, you sweet little human. I
Tyler
sure will.
is interested. You had me at feet.
Can you send
Oh
me that?
man, I'm gonna need that number. I'm sorry, Mike. Oh man.
I definitely will. So the 90-minute one, then they also head, shoulders. Oh,
Yeah, we got
boy.
it.
Now these boys have done lost it. They're crying. Oh man.
Bring it back.
Do you need tissues?
No, I'm
Oh,
good.
no, it's all right.
Keep going.
Okay, keep going. Bible reading challenge. Anybody have thoughts on this week's reading? Jesus is washing the feet. Just kidding. He's
No,
not.
that would be
This
aw-
is
that would've been
Matthew
awesome.
13.
Yeah, it's getting real.
Matthew 13.
I mean, yeah. Wait, was today 13 or 14?
Today was 13.
Yeah. Okay. Talking about
End times.
the return and all that.
Yep.
Times.
Yeah.
So all I can only read and just think, Jamie, what you've been reading your book. So
Yeah, I'm done with
I
it.
didn't know how you connected those two.
I did not. Yeah, the book on Revelation. Yeah, it's funny because I read a devotional thing on it, and they immediately went straight to the tribulation period and whatever, and I'm
Yeah.
like, where do you see that in
yeah.
anything that Jesus just got done saying?
Right.
He talks about persecution, but he did. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So my thing on the reading that I was going to mention was just on Saturday doing the reading, and I mentioned this last week on the pod, but the widow's mite. But the thing that really just kind of struck me or stood out to me over the last couple of weeks really is the Jesus' emphasis on the internal transformation of a person versus the Pharisaical external conformity to whatever the rules happen to be. And while it's easy to do a pile on the Pharisees for, only focusing on the external, as I was reading on Saturday, and I'm trying to journal through this thing. But the thing that just kind of stood out to me on Saturday was, I mean, really, I put a lot of emphasis on my external performance stuff. Like, it's easier to focus on what you're doing than who you are and who you're becoming. And so I just felt slightly convicted over this, like even as I'm journaling, like it's an external thing. I'm ticking the box and whatever, but then I'm cranky and grumpy with people that I ought to be loving towards. And so like there's just this internal thing that resists what God wants to really do in us. And it's so easy to settle for these external things. And yet here's this widow who like externally is performing quite poorly, and yet Jesus reveals that her heart is exactly in the right spot. And it was just a very convicting read on Saturday. So
Yeah. Just that whole, like, not the whole chapter, yes, the whole chapter, but going along with that, the guy that at the end where Jesus is kind of getting at everybody, is like, hey, you got this wrong, Sadducees, you have this thing wrong, Pharisees. Then that one scribe comes back to him, or law keeper, or whoever he was, and is just asking, like, what's most important? Jesus gives the answer, and the guy says, "You're right, teacher. Like, it's about loving God. He's one. And then loving your neighbor. And that's more important than keeping all the sacrifices, all the other laws, all the other things." And I just, like I said, like you just said, it's so much easier to just, all right, I'm going to just sacrifice this thing, do this external thing. But the internal part is just such a, because you can't see it.
Yeah, so much harder.
It's so much harder to just,
Yeah, we grew up singing, "I don't want to be a Pharisee."
Yeah.
There's not Pharisee. I don't want to be Sadducee. Did you guys sing that? Not
I just
Sadducee.
want to be a
Okay.
sheep, ba, 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 ba.
Not
I
you?
just want to be a sheep,
All
ba, ba,
right.
ba.
Well, different church, I guess. But so you grew up like, I'm never gonna be a Pharisee or a Sadducee kind of thing. But I think you're right, Jamie. Like, the older I get, you're more like, it is just this internal struggle that you're fighting with.
Yep.
So I think we say this, or we have said this, but you rewind, and if we were in those times, I think we probably would have had the same. We would have
same thing.
Yeah, we still would have probably been vocalizing just like the disciples did, just like the Pharisees were doing. So, yeah, I think there's just conviction, and I can feel that conviction as well.
Yeah, so good. Well, we continued.
Vacuum cleaner, the other side of the wall.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yes.
So,
In our
Just our
sound- in our sound-
professionalism around here.
soundproof studio.
Crushing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yesterday we continued our pray series, and Tyler, you brought our message on be still and know. So you opened the message giving us some examples of things we know we shouldn't do, but do anyway, which I thought was a great start to this to your message. Just kind of acknowledging that we're like starting a new quarter. We're 3 months into the new year. We've probably started to like really slack on some of our New Year's resolutions.
I not even remember them.
Right.
Right.
Where I'm at.
So I'm just wondering, what are some of the things that you guys are doing that you know you shouldn't be doing? Tyler mentioned things like leaving empty containers in the fridge, putting gum under the table.
Yeah, I can't believe you did that.
Me
It's
neither.
disgusting.
Can we just, the people in our lives, can we say the things they're not doing? And
Yeah,
so
it's
what?
easier
Yeah,
to
it's
point
way
out
easier to
other
do
people.
that. I got a lot of
Externally,
things.
I'm crushing it.
You are?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Well,
you
tell
did. You-
us. Tell
you
us.
I'm
clean
doing
every
all-
Friday?
I already said, like,
Oh, yeah, he cleaned the house, yeah.
My performance is really good. Externally, I'm doing great. It's the-
Yeah,
it's
you're
the-
journaling, you're cleaning the house.
all the
Yeah,
things.
it's just
Yeah.
you're not doing it with the heart that you should be doing. it.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm grumpy while I do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just opposite. My internal's great. I imagine if I would do those things, it would be really, really
Yeah.
good, but I just don't do them. No, I think like that's, I'm trying to, as a father, you like are trying to tell your kids to do things, but then like, oh, I just do the same thing. I mean, it happens all the time, right? Like I'll correct Mason on something. You got to, if the trash is laying there, it's beside the trash can, take it out. You have to see it. Or if the trash can's full, why would you just put another thing on top of it? Right? Those basic things. But I do the same things still. You pop open, you just throw it on there. It's like filling up.
Just crush it down.
Yeah. So it's, I don't know, probably just those simple things. And then it's like you wait for somebody else to do it. Right. Like, even if it's like, even now I have a kid that's old enough, like Addie, 15 years old now. Like just, Addie will pick that up or somebody else will pick that up. And I know that sounds so selfish, but
Just a word. When the kids leave, it's just
Then you gotta do it
You got to
again.
wait it out with your spouse.
Oh, so make them
The
do it
only
now.
one left. Yeah.
Train the dog.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. I think probably me. I like why I listed some of those things is I do some of those things. The reality TV definitely. It just cracks me up, man. I just love watching that stuff. It's just the drama. I know I shouldn't, but I do it anyway. But definitely the containers too. I will put a box of cereal back in there. It has nothing in it.
Oh my
that
gosh.
drives me
Just-
crazy.
Oh, about
That
the
is
containers
so
with the
funny.
kids, it's like the chip bags. Like they can,
It's barely.
they
yeah,
think
it
they just
comes-
fold it up. Well, here's two problems. One, they'll put it back and there's like no food left in it. Or two, they'll put it back in there and it's a chip bag and they just crunch it down a little bit and throw it in there. Well, obviously it unravels back open. So now everything's stale. Don't get me going on that.
So see, he quickly reverted back to just pointing out what everyone
Right.
else is doing.
I would
Right,
never
right.
do that.
Never. Never. Yeah, so
Thank
that
you for
was
bringing that up.
just a fun way to get things started. But you then quickly moved us into just suggesting that part of our issue with prayer is too often prayer begins with us when it should begin with God. So I'm hoping that you'll just share that Philip Yancey quote that you referenced at the beginning part of your message.
Yeah, it's a good one. Prayer is the act of seeing reality from God's point of view. And
Yeah.
so even saying that, I always think, well, I don't have God's point of view, but even just to think of what it is and how he is outside of time, he knows everything, he's all powerful. And then to be able to, because we have a relationship with him, to trust him and his plans, what he does, why he does it. We might not know all the way, but we can trust him. He went and earned the relationship for us. And so, yeah, just trying to see reality from his point of view, I guess, helps us to be able to trust in this God that can do anything and loves us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you talked a little bit about how when we kind of lean into that perspective, how it affects how we look at our heart's posture. Can you kind of, and you guys can kind of weigh in on that too. What is that? What do you mean by that, by our heart's posture?
Yeah. I think when we say, like even me saying, I don't have God's point of view, it makes me say, okay, he is God, I am not. And then I get to just lean into him as my father, because even though he is who he is so close to us and desires relationship and allows us to come to him in that way, like a child to a father. And so we can just lean into that part of the relationship, knowing who he is, and really just trust. I think like that's the foundation of any relationship. That's what we have with him.
Jamie said this, like he's been like the journals, so we talk about the soap. But when you were talking about that prayer, like we go to God with like all these prayer things, right? All these things that we need, and instead of just trying to see what his perspective on it. But I think, sorry, there's like this crazy banging going on, and I'm one that gets distracted very easily. But you have like, so you read the scripture first, then you observe, then you apply, and the last thing you do is pray. And I'm just wondering, like, isn't that's kind of a cool process to try to get God's perspective first before just jumping right into the prayer and being like, okay, this is what I need, this is what I think I need, this is what I think you need to do, God. But instead it's like, well, let's read scripture, let's observe what's being said. And then how is that scripture applying to it? That connected those two seemed like a really cool process to work through.
Yep, that's good.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, one of the things that you were talking about, Tyler, was our smallness compared to God's bigness. And you used that awesome video that
Love that video.
You've used it before, but I loved that you brought it back. Just the planets and like just seeing that kind of play out, and where we fit into the greatness of this universe that we're in and God's bigness, and yet he knows and he cares about us. And then you use this story of you on the beach and going into the ocean, which was fantastic illustration of you feeling so small. And you said you had a lot more stories to share on the pod, so you can definitely share some of those here. But yeah, I'm just wondering, like, when are some times that you guys have had just like those moments of feeling like the reality of how small you are compared to how big God is, and yet knowing that he knows you, he loves you, he's concerned about what's going on in your life, in your world. Yeah, any of you can kind of share one of those times or many of those times.
I can share one, since I did promise that I would share another story. A couple years ago, we went to, I think it's Chesterfield, Virginia. So like probably an hour and a half away from here,
towards
something like
Richmond.
that.
Yep.
Pretty country, wooded area, whatever. My family had like a rented farmhouse or some kind of house, whatever it was, in a little neighborhood. And I was doing a May Mile Challenge, where I was working at the time. And we had teams, and you had to run a certain amount, and what team ran the most or walked the most, whatever it was, you won the prize at the end of May. And so, because I don't run, I don't jog, I don't do that kind of stuff, but I was doing it for this.
Amen.
I know, and this is part of why I don't do it. And so I'm out here, I'm running, doing my thing, I'm almost done. There's a guy cutting grass in his yard, and he's just screaming, going crazy. And so then as I'm crossing the street, there's a bear that comes out of his yard and posts up right in front of me.
Oh my gosh.
Probably if I guess, maybe 20, 30 yards, you know? So like I could see in the eyes of this bear, and he's looking at me and I'm looking at him. And it was similar to the story I told in the ocean. Like everything was just frozen as I'm looking in the eyes of this big old monster. And for whatever reason, he takes off. And then, y'all, I ran probably as fast as I've ever run in my life. Like, I know they tell you you're supposed to look big and scary. Yeah. I didn't do any of that. Everything was out the window. I took off. And so, yeah, that's one of the stories I have. Crazy. But yeah, just feeling like when you see an animal at the zoo and they look huge and big, you know, that's one thing. You get out there and they are right in front of you. It is a very different feeling. So,
my guess is, as many of these as you've had, one of these times you remember.
One of these times I got to stop going outside.
Stop going outside.
So, like, what happened?
I made it to the house. Like the bear, I don't know where he went, but I made it to the house and I was okay.
And you got more steps in then probably.
I got more steps in.
Did
for
you guys
sure.
win the mile?
We did win.
See, look at that.
We won the challenge.
Thank you, bear.
But yeah, thank the bear for that. But yeah, that was. I think that was probably. I don't know. That's scarier than the ocean one. I don't know, but
that seems scarier. That seemed more real.
It was very scary.
Like, okay, bear in front of your face, and the other one was maybe.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of mine. I don't have maybe not like scary stories or whatever, but like the bigness of God. So we do we don't get it a lot here, but we do a family reunion like every 2 years. It's amazing. I love it. But it's in the middle of Ohio, like in the middle of country Ohio. And I know those nights, like when you can see all of the stars. So when you show that video, I always think, well, I can't see these planets. But man, just the amount of stars that we don't maybe typically see around here all the time. Like maybe if you get out in Suffolk out there a little bit. But that's one thing. The other thing was I had a chance to go skiing in Breckenridge like probably 6 or 7 years ago. And me and Brian, who was gracious to take me on his trip with him, we stayed on the ski lift too long. And we ended up at the very, very peak in Breckenridge. And I don't remember how high it was. I think it was like 13,000, like something like that, right? Something ridiculous. And we didn't see the sign till after that there was an easier way down to go right, but we just kind of got off the lift and went left. And so we had to go down these like moguls, and then all of a sudden I lost Brian because I went right and I couldn't find him anywhere. And then there was like nobody around, and it was like fresh powder snow with a lot of trees. And I remember sitting there because I was exhausted. I mean, you're sweating through all of your snow clothes, and I'm stuck. I don't know where I'm at. And I remember just sitting there being like, this is it. Like, Jesus, you got to pick me up and get me off of this mountain because I have no idea how to get down. I'm exhausted. And I remember sitting there just looking around with all powder snow, fresh powder. Like, nobody had been there, all the trees, and just like, now that I know that I'm safe, I didn't die up there. I look back and be like, man, that was a moment where you were just like, this is massive. Yeah. This is crazy. So I'm trying to think of other moments, but those are probably two that come to mind pretty quick. I did get off the mountain somehow.
Oh, is that how obviously. You got here?
Yeah, so if you were wondering, I'm still not there.
Wow, that was close. I was on the edge of my seat.
I didn't know if I needed to finish the story. It was slow, but I got down. And then we flew home, and here we are.
Okay, good. Man, I'm glad
that's how that all played out.
I'm glad you finished that.
I think one of the things that comes to mind for me in that, like, the smallness and God's bigness is, and I might have shared this story before, but our pregnancies, like me having both of our kids, was pretty not great. And Spencer in particular, when he was born, we didn't know if he was gonna make it, and he was born very premature. And I never really like had a moment where I would say like I questioned God in that. I didn't have that feeling when it was happening. But I think it was probably something I was questioning or wrestling with, like in the back of my mind, or like deep in my heart. I was probably struggling with that a little bit. And when he was like a little over 1, Nate and I had the opportunity to go to Africa with our church, with a few members of our church at the time. And we were in Chad, which is like the bush. Like it's the middle of
Just north of where Bonnie grew up.
yeah.
Yep.
And it's the middle of Chad, the middle of nowhere, and like a complete third world country. And we were going into villages where there were like no visitors had ever been in a lot of these places. And we had gone into this one community that had like very set up kind of like huts for people that had various ailments going on. And we'd gone into one of these huts to pray over people that had lots of different things going on. And we were walking towards this one woman who had something laying in her lap, and you couldn't even tell like what it was at the time. But as we got closer, it was 2 babies.
Oh, wow.
And they were so small. And as I got up to them, like she didn't even speak French. Like she only spoke a tribal language. And I knew that I was going to be able to pray over her and these babies. And it was like in that moment that I knew I would be able to understand that these babies were not going to live. There was no way they were going to live. But I could like connect with this mom, knowing that I knew a little bit of what her heart was feeling in that moment, and that God was allowing me to relate to her, and that God knew what she was feeling, and that I could know what she was feeling, and that the God of the universe, and as big as he was, could identify with her, and I could identify with her. And it was that thing of like, as small as we were, as small as these babies were, and the bigness of God was like all culminating in this moment in Africa. I was like 23 at the time or something, if I was even that. And like, yeah, that kind of stuff just like blows my mind when you think of that video that you showed, and then this moment is like things that we can't even wrap our minds around. And that this big, big God loves us so much and so intimately, and we can like call out to him in prayer for him to meet this mom in this moment as she's like having to say goodbye in her grief in this, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
Really wish you would have shared that before mine. So mine looked dumb now compared to yours.
No, none of it. And good. Isn't that like that's true too, right?
Yeah.
Like all of it, like it's just
all the things.
The things.
Yeah, even now, like with Karina being pregnant, about to like be a dad coming through now, like just thinking like, man, this baby now, she's 20 weeks, couple days, started out as a cell.
Yeah.
That is now as big as he is right now. And then at one point, all of us were that.
Yeah.
And all the people in the world were that. And yet God sees all of us.
All of it.
And like Jesus came yeah, I don't know. It's just so much.
Yeah, it's
about.
incredible.
Yeah, that's a great story.
Absolutely incredible. So you also shared a really great Dallas Willard quote that is, "Hurry is the great enemy of spiritual life in our day." And then you talked about the clock and the iPhone. So let's chat about these studies for how many times people touch their phones, which is just
wild.
Incredible to think about.
Yeah.
So it started out, I think you said in 2016 with like 25-ish hundred touches per day. Jamie's looking right now.
Jamie.
So you said,
how many was it?
I think you said like 2,500 touches.
2,500 touches
In a
and
day?
then it doubled
a day. And it doubled.
Oh my God.
to
2019.
2019. So like 2024, it has to be what, 10,000 now at least a day?
Maybe. I
A
don't know.
day?
6,
I don't
7
even know how
hours.
that's possible. That's all you would do.
It feels,
I mean, isn't it all we do?
I guess so. I feel.
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting to be, Tyler, I don't know if you're in this generation, but knowing when we didn't, like we didn't touch
Right.
a phone. Like there was days when you never touched a phone ever. And to now think that you're touching it 10,000 times in a day. I mean, That's bonkers.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, man, what are we doing? Like, how much? Like,
I think
our
I
screen
believe it.
time
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, just the
That's-
distraction thing. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really that was your point
yeah,
of
that
the
was
illustration,
just
right? Is just like we have the
very-
hardest time focusing our thoughts and
Right.
attention. Years ago, during one of my coaching times, Nelson encouraged us to use an egg timer and to set it for 1 hour and said, just like, try to work on one thing for an entire hour. And I'm telling you, that is extraordinarily difficult to
Yeah.
do.
Wow.
But his whole thing was like, if you could concentrate like and work in 1 hour blocks and then take 15 minutes to be as distracted as you want to, and then set your timer again for the next big task on your day, like how much more you could actually get done.
Yeah.
But we're just
all
all
over
over
the
the place, you know.
Well, they're saying like even with like you have like YouTube Shorts, you got TikToks, like all these things are 30-second to
Yeah.
3 minutes, and like we have this like obviously the instant gratification of just
Yeah.
like the next thing that happens, and so like we're stuck in this like habitual
Yeah.
routine that just doesn't stop. Like so for Lent, I gave up social, and I told Tyler this, like there was for the first week, my thumb on my phone would immediately go to where that app used to be. Like with not me even thinking,
Yeah,
just swipe
just
open
habitual.
and go to click
Yep.
on it. You're like, oh my gosh. I'm like, why am I doing that? So thank goodness I deleted it so it wouldn't just pop up. But like I think that it's real habit. You don't think
Yep.
that you have these habits or you think you have these things going on, but it's real.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, our big idea for the day was silence the noise to connect with God. And it seems so simple. And it's like, yeah, I mean, let's just do that. We can just do that. And it is so difficult. Jamie and Tyler, both of you are professed introverts. So
Not just professed, proven.
right, true. So does that
Feel left out.
make you solitude experts? And I legit want to know if you think
Yeah.
that's true.
So there's a difference between solitude and isolation.
Right.
And solitude is the intentional withdrawing, and from a spiritual context, it would be intentionally withdrawing in order to connect with God. But I think, like I'm a professional isolator, which is not the same.
Right.
Like that's not terribly healthy. So I can isolate and be fine. But I don't think it's a really healthy place to be.
Yeah.
And I can do that for days at a time. But we're made to connect. So like that's not necessarily a healthy thing. But the intentional withdrawing for solitude, which is a beneficial thing, like I wouldn't say I am an expert at that. I have moments where I can do that well, and particularly like if I go places like, you were talking about, various places where you experience the bigness of God, and like in those kinds of settings, I can do that, and I feel like this connection with God through nature and whatnot. But I would say those are on the rare side, and the isolation is on the frequent
So
side.
do you think that you would look for, if you were going to go into solitude, you look forward to it though as an introvert?
I can enthusiastically embrace the idea of solitude for the purpose of connecting to God.
Yeah, I had lunch with one of our drummers, Matt, and he's introverted, and he loves to go. He'll go camping by himself.
Yeah.
And he's telling me these stories, and to me, it's like it almost like brings anxiety. It's like you just were by yourself for like 2.5 days. Like, what did you
do?
What did you even do? I don't even understand. What did you talk? Like, you didn't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying to me.
So like a year ago, there was a lead pastor thing down in somewhere Georgia.
Yeah.
And I took the long way, took my motorcycle, and took like a couple days going down, a couple days coming back. And so those 4 days were solitude days on the motorcycle. Some of my favorite days. Like I love doing that. Like solo.
And you just
solo
stopped like at a
rides.
restaurant, just like ate by yourself?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I gotta love that.
I'm
Tyler,
very
are you
similar.
the same way?
100%. The isolation is super easy. I can isolate for days and
Yeah.
just do either nothing or read, play video games, whatever
Yeah.
it is. I can isolate all day, but the solitude part, man, to sit and be still and communicate with God. It's much easier in nature doing things
Yeah,
like
it
that.
is,
But
yeah.
like you said, the day-to-day part is just tough. But that 2-minute thing has
Yeah.
been very helpful for that.
Yeah.
I know it's only 2 minutes, but like even I was out in the parking lot today when I did it because I forgot to do it at another time in the day and just sat there. So all right, think of a prompt and just sit for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And that has been very, very helpful, especially with the instructions that what's the author's name again? It's Tyler something.
Stanton.
Tyler Stanton, with the instructions not to focus on, is this working? Like, am I benefiting? Am I, getting something out of it? But just taking the time to do it. It's been really good.
So you get nervous?
Yeah, I was just trying to think. I would not look forward. Like, I've done some solitude things, but I do not look forward to it. As an extra, like, I want people around. I want to be able to, like, have a conversation if anything, just to fill space. Like, we've talked about that too. Is like, I hate silence around it. So I think, like, the isolation is more like, I wouldn't look forward to that. It would almost feel like another thing. Like, I've got to do this to check a box. Like, I've got to do this just like you need to do your Bible reading in the morning. So I feel like I would slip into that. But then again, I've had examples where it's been really, really good. But it wasn't something I planned. Like, I did the Colorado thing and they made you go as like a camp. They made you go off by yourself. And I was like, this is dumb. But as soon as I was there, it was nature again. But as soon as I was there, man, that was like, and I could only do it for like 20, 30 minutes. I was like, all right, I need to get back to people. But because now I'm just sitting here just in La La Land. I'm not even praying anymore. But yeah, but I think it's probably a learned habit too,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's something you have to practice.
So Tyler, I love that you took us through the Matthew 14 passage and just kind of what Jesus was teaching us about solitude. And so that passage kind of takes us out of Jesus and the disciples had just been through this like really chaotic time with the feeding of the 5,000. They were with a multitude of people in a very chaotic moment, and he's getting them to like get away from all of that. He's taken them to kind of an isolated place, and they encounter this another chaotic scene out on the water.
Those poor guys. They just,
Yeah. So what's the point? Like, what is the point of leaving the feeding of the 5,000? Like, what is he trying to teach them in pursuing solitude? What's he trying to, what's the principle he's trying to get through there?
It is interesting that like when we think of rest, typically we think of just like not working. But when they did so much work, like feeding those people. Yes, Jesus did the miracle, but the disciples took all the food to all the people. They collected it back. So that's a lot of work with a lot of people. I can imagine if there were any introverts in that group, which there probably were, they'd have been just maxed out.
Done.
Just done. And so Jesus intentionally goes to a deserted place to rest and pray. And he's not just like not working. He is resting by spending time with God. And so often, even when I want to quote unquote rest, I don't go do that. I go and do like other things. But like Jesus is our Sabbath rest. So going to spend time with him is like the perfect way to rest. And he models that by doing the thing and then doing the same with the disciples. But yeah, he is our perfect model of that. Seeing how he perfected rest, how he is the perfect rest, and how we can rest in him rather than just like not working. It's so much more profound than that.
Yeah. So they go out on this boat and they're in pursuit of getting to the place with him, and this storm swells up.
Yeah.
And so what happens in that scene?
So he I just think because Earl Beasley is a guy who's been here for a long time. He has a fishing boat, and he's taken me out before to fish in the ocean, which I'm not accustomed to. And one day, y'all, it was a bright sunny day, but it was windy, and that boat was rocking. I mean, it felt like it was going to tip over. And we have a motor with gas in it that can get us around. These guys are on a sailboat. And so this wind is rocking the boat. Like, I can just imagine their fear. And they see Jesus coming on the water. I think it's a ghost. And again, he is God in the flesh who comes near. He's right there in their greatest hour of need. And he is there to communicate with them. The God of the universe is right there next to them as they're in this boat. And then especially thinking of what he actually says, to take courage, I am peace. Like he is the God of all with them in this moment. But I'm thinking of the sermon now, just he's there, but he wants us to communicate with him. He sees what's happening. He sees the chaos. He sees Peter sink when he asks him to come walk out. And yet he wants to be like communicate with him. And I'll save you. Not like we got the vending machine. We'll talk about that. But it's the relational aspect of the relationship that we have with God that he wants to
I love
communicate.
that. Would he have reached out to rescue Peter had Peter not asked for help? That's such a great question. We don't know. But I do love that. Like he did not reach out before he was asked.
Right.
So like that just speaks to something about prayer, right? Like he knows our needs, and yet there is something in the speaking to that has some significance, whether we grasp what that is or not. Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, I think that when you ask that, the tension of that question is such a good.
I love it.
Yeah. You just not giving like a definitive answer is so. I think it's like such an important thing for people to be able to sit with and just be like, yeah, we just don't always have the answers to those questions. You know, you have to just sit and wrestle with that, because that's one of those things that's not it. We don't know.
Yeah.
But like the answer is Peter asked.
He asked. And that's what's been really cool about this series. I think after even you, Jamie, after the first week and then this week, people are really just wrestling with prayer and just appreciating that we're not saying, hey, this is X equals Y. This is exactly how to do it. This is what you'll get, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, by the way, you almost dismissed the message coming up for this week. You're like, adoration, praise.
I'm
like, that's exactly what I'm teaching on next week. Thanks, Tyler.
I'm sorry. I caught myself.
Then he said, I mean, that's all good stuff.
Is that when you're going rogue? Is that when you were going rogue?
A little bit, yeah.
My wife was producing yesterday, and she texted me at one point. She's like, he's going rogue. This isn't in the message notes, but it's good. I was like, all right, well, just let him go.
So you just kind of mentioned it, but you closed out the message with a fantastic vending machine illustration. So would you just walk us through that concept again? Because I think it's so relatable.
It was so funny. Is even when I read that, like people have really liked that analogy. And I'll be honest, I didn't think it's all that super profound, but I guess it connects with people. Like it connects with all of us. But like you go up to a vending machine. We don't do it as often as we used to. And it's kind of crazy that you can swipe your card on a vending machine now. That blows my mind.
Game changer.
Yeah. And Debbie also told me that you used to buy cigarettes from vending machines too.
Oh,
I didn't know that. I'm sorry, Debbie. I didn't mean to.
Debbie was buying them for a friend.
Yeah, she had heard that.
Yeah, sorry, she heard that. Yeah. But no, you go up there and you see what you want. You press the button, swipe your card, do the thing, and you get what you want. And but if the vending machine doesn't, like if it's not there, the thing you want, or it just it hits the glass and doesn't come down, all of a sudden the vending machine loses all its value, all of its worth. And unfortunately, whether it's in our hearts, we want to admit it or not, we can think of God that way. And like really, when I think about it, especially when we're praying about things that are good, like, man, it's so hard when it doesn't happen, when it doesn't come, when the God who says that he's about justice and healing and prosperity in certain ways and salvation, all the stuff, and those things don't happen either in the way that we want to see it or at the timing that we want to see it. That is hard. It's so difficult. But I think I did mention this yesterday, but if we got every single thing we ever wanted, every single time we ask, right when we ask, every single time, that relationship just becomes about that.
For sure.
The things you get every time. Yeah, transactional. Yeah. Just like with the vending machine.
And we'd be a mess too. I mean, some of the things we pray for, and it's like you look back at it, 10 years later, you're like, that was so thank goodness that wasn't answered that way.
Yeah.
Garth Brooks says it, and God front answered prayers.
Yeah, well,
Just the other
I
night.
always think of Bruce Almighty,
Yes.
where he just hits a collective yes,
Yes,
to every
on all the
prayer request, and
emails.
chaos ensues. You know,
Yeah.
So
Oh,
good.
good analogy.
thousands of people win the lottery. Yeah,
It's just a mess.
Yeah.
total disaster.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
No.
think it like that even circles back to like trusting God in his perspective. Like even you just mentioned it. Thank God he's not a vending machine because he has a perspective that we don't. And he is doing something to bring us to him and to help people to get to know
Right.
him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we trust him in that.
So how does that compare to our memory verse that tells us about the character of God, which is Hebrews 4:16?
Yeah. I mean, we can come because of the relationship that we have that was bought and paid for by Jesus. We can come to him boldly, just as we are. And so I know I might have stole something from you for the week coming up, Jamie, but thinking of what you said last week, just to pray as you can, not as you can.
Yeah.
Like that, being 100% real with God in those moments. Like that's the beauty of our relationship that we have with him. And it's funny you bring up our difference in denomination, Sam, growing up. But being a Baptist boy, like you had to do the adoration first, your thanksgiving to God, you ask forgiveness, then you ask what you want, and then you close. And that is the thing you do when you pray.
Yeah.
You can't be angry at God. You can't complain to him. You can't talk about just how sad you are that he didn't do whatever it is. Like you have to, it's religious, not relational. And so that's,
Yeah, I mean, he
that's
says,
the main verse.
go boldly in your prayers, but also think you have to have the humility in it. Like when you understand, when I pray, like understanding that God understands it more than I'm ever going to know or need to know, but that doesn't take away the boldness of your prayers. Like be bold in it, but then also know that God has our best interest out as well. And he's going to provide what he needs to provide for us.
Yeah, so good. Well, that's all we've got time for today. But before we go, we have some really amazing ways to make this series the most impactful. So let's chat through them really quickly. I think we had some more people able to pick up journals this week.
Yes. And sorry, y'all, I forgot to mention it at both sermons.
That's
Just-
okay.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we got. I couldn't remember if you'd mentioned it or not. But yeah, we do have them, and they're at Connect Central. So if you didn't get one and you want to pick one up,
Yep.
stop by there next
So
week.
we do have more of those, and we have the prayer wall. Guys,
We got to get together.
How'd they do this week?
it,
Well,
not
it was still, yeah.
Not great.
yeah.
not great, guys. My fingers can't handle
My
pulling
fingers
those
hurt.
things off. They hurt
Yeah,
doing this.
Well,
so
we have to. So we just need them to be together. Like it's a
Yeah,
puzzle.
it's like a
You
puzzle.
You put a puzzle together.
yeah, just
They're just getting a little bit separated. So we're trying to save
Get 'em
space so
nice
we
and
can have more
close.
prayers up there.
yeah. So do
We'll
that.
get it. We
yeah.
got 2 more weeks.
2 more weeks.
Yeah.
2 more weeks to
Come
fill
on,
up the
guys.
prayer wall.
you got this.
Yep, you got it. The 24 hours of prayer event is happening on Thursday, March 28th through Friday, March 29th. We've got a lot of people signed up for that, and we would love to have even more. So you can go to the events tab on our app and website and get signed up for that. Do it with your family or your B group. We would love to have you be a part of that on campus, but you can also do it from your home if you would prefer not to come up here. But coming up here will be really fantastic. We have prayer stations to help walk you through the full hour, and it will go much quicker than you think it will. It's going to be really fantastic. And then we have our Good Friday service. That is going to be a night of worship and healing prayer, and that will also be, and communion, yeah. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, we look forward to seeing you this Sunday on campus at 9 or 10:45, and you can always join us at 1 o'clock on YouTube. And until then, go and be love. Thanks for being here, friends. We'll see you this week.